Just leaning back in my chair, watching these mules fly around. And, apparently, I think it's boring. Yeah, it's sort of a standoff right now. Neither player can really do too much. Leta needs to get his tech up and a little bit larger army before he can move out, and EffOrt's trying to take his third here with some lurkers on the ramp. Pretty much standard TVZ mid-game of sort of a silence calm before the storm. Before there's science vessels and ultras and defilers and all sorts of sweet things running around the map. And Leta's pretty much locked down at this point. He's got turrets everywhere. He's got lots of medic and marine, and he's looking for that third. He's scanning. He sees the Queen's Nest going down. He's got an SAV up at the 1 o'clock, seeing nothing because there's nothing there. And he looks as confused as I am as to why EffOrt took that main. And now that it looks like it's going to be a whole lurker trap, because those lurkers are all right in a line to destroy an M&M if they walk near them, and they're not trying to contain the entrance or really anything. EffOrt destroying turrets, but just taking hits on his muta, and that doesn't do that much damage to Leta. Communist lurkers sitting there, waiting, lurking. Lurker traps are very depressing, I would imagine, if you're a Terran player. You're rolling out, you finally beat back the harass, you got a nice sweet army, and then bam, it dies instantly before you can even dodge. And we can see the FP view of Leta here. He has scanned that third, and he knows what's up. And he's being super safe, putting down a separate bunker. Oh, and he scans where those lurkers are, so they're not going to surprise him. He apparently has seen this strategy before, and now he's just, being contained. Tanks. Or, I guess not tanks. Factory upgrades and units. And 2 starports. It's probably not going to be a Wraith switch. It's probably just going to be SK Terran with apparently some sort of factory thing. Probably vultures, I would guess. Vultures and mines seem to be getting more and more popular, despite the fact that Zerglings can defuse them so easily. This seems... EffOrt's got a reasonable contain so far on Leta, but it seems pretty thin overall. And eventually, Leta's going to get angry and bust out. I guess the factory's probably is making tanks, so... Oh, man. Leta says, I don't need no stinking tanks. And he just rushes in. Nice pull by EffOrt, pulling that muta before the irradiate does too much damage to the rest of them. And, no +1 armor for Leta, so he just lost a bunch of marines for fun, I guess. And a Greater Spire coming up from EffOrt. I do not like Greater Spires. I think that, obviously they are a viable tactic, or Koreans would not keep using them. But I think they're a very high-risk tactic, just because a couple Wraiths and a couple Irradiates destroy units that cost as much as Ultras. But they can get a lot of damage done in this sort of timing window between getting them and all of that stuff being able to attack them. So we'll see where EffOrt chooses to morph these mutas. And another Irradiate on them, and another great pull. So EffOrt's on top of that. That's a lot of lurkers. Now we're seeing yet again this sort of stereotypical mid to late game transition. Terran's finally breaking out of their base, so he'll probably be trying to take a third here. He's got all the tech and units he needs, and he's just rolling out, and then hoping not to run into a lurker trap, which he shouldn't, because you can see he's leading with the science vessels, so that's in danger of getting them scourged, which EffOrt definitely wants to do. And sort of a micro battle here between the Scourge, the Marines, the Lurkers, and the science vessels. And apparently EffOrt's just gonna morph those. That's cute. Leta's misplacing his command center at his third slightly, perhaps so it doesn't get noticed. I don't think there's anything burrowed there. But it looks like EffOrt's just going to use these Guardians for defense instead of attack. He's going to put them on that ridge right in front of his base and try to keep. And now he's got Swarm out already. So that's obviously good for him. That makes his third virtually impenetrable by the army of Leta. And see, the Guardians didn't serve any point because now that's gas that could have been defilers and could have been more lurkers. And as we all know, defilers and lurkers are invincible under Dark Swarm. That's not quite true, but practically. Leta's got his mouth open like a fish. He seems perplexed by this turn of events. But EffOrt's only on 3 base, so despite all of his sweet tech and high-level units, his economy is not that great, and he doesn't look like he's going to be able to take a 4th that quickly. He's probably going to want to try to push down this ramp, but Leta's got troops in place, and now there are vultures and mines out for Leta, and those get cleaned up instantly by Zerglings. Yeah, I don't know, I guess he was trying to hide that command center slightly by misplacing it, but it's back to where it should be now, and mining minerals for the Terran Dominion, or whatever Terran faction Leta represents. +1, +2 upgrades for Leta, so that's obviously good for his M&M. We only have +1, +1 for the Zerglings, so that will help Leta kill them quickly until Swarm goes down, and then, well, they won't die. But and then sieging up right here in the middle of the map. Ooh, nice plague all over everything. Even gets to the floating science facility. Although I don't know if it actually does damage to Terran buildings, does it? It seems like it would be imbalanced, but it might. It certainly does damage to tanks, which is no fun for Leta. Leta's got troops everywhere. He's got troops up at the 1 o'clock. He's got troops at the 6 o'clock. He's got this big army sitting right in front of EffOrt's natural. He looks like he's really in control of this game at this point. EffOrt's sitting back. He's finally getting a 4th, which is going to get immediately stomped all over. And now it looks like he's finally going to push out of that other main and expand at the 6 o'clock while this base is getting shut down, yeah. There's lurkers under Dark Swarm they managed to get out. Looks like they managed to take Leta by surprise and kill a lot of those Marines that were standing down there and protecting that area. And Leta's getting hit in transition here a little bit, taking some damage on his tanks, and loses a tank, and he's going to lose 2 science vessels. Maybe, no, it's just 2. And so EffOrt's finally going to be on a reasonable economic standpoint. What is he building? Well, there's nothing coming out of his barracks. It looks like Leta's just trying to deny more expansions. He's got all his troops sitting up there on that ledge, and EffOrt definitely knows about them, so he's going to kill them. But that's not really a good position for EffOrt to be in. He's going to get surrounded, basically, or just countered into his main. And Guardians, that'll actually help a lot in this situation. These Marines have nowhere to run to against Guardians, and now they're standing underneath Swarm and just dying. Yeah, they're just all dead. So it looks like Leta wants to expand to that main eventually. He's building another command center, and he didn't produce 1 Wraith to fight those Guardians, so now his science vessels are going to be on the absolute other side of the map, and they're probably actually going to do some damage against Leta's 3rd. They're going to make him cancel that command center for 1, because it's not going to get built enough to get repaired. Probably, at least. No, I'm not committing to what I've said. Oh yeah, it gets canceled. Good. See, I was right. Luckily, there's enough space here, and the M&M can get in and almost kill all the Guardians. That one sneaks away with a little bit of health, but he's not going to be doing much soon.